Hi, my name is Melissa Vert. I'm the Fellowship and Grants Coordinator at the International Institute in our Fellowship and Grants office. It is my pleasure to get to join you today for an informational session regarding the Fulbright program. I love this program, and so getting to be here at this time of year is always, it's a favorite time of year for me. I want to thank everyone for being here who's in the meeting, and for anyone who might be watching this after we've concluded our conversation. We want to make sure that you know that you are free to ask questions of us at any time. You can see right in the title page of our presentation is our website. So if you just started watching this, or if you're here for the first time and you feel like you want to follow along by going over to the website and looking at some of the things, you're more than welcome to. I also want to make sure I give a moment to let my colleague Audio introduce herself. Heather, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi there. This is Heather Johnson. I've been a Fulbright program advisor for quite a while now, and really getting excited to get everybody launched and moving toward their goal. And obviously, this is a big part of it. So hopefully this information session today will be useful to you, and we'll be following up with things after everything is done.
Excellent. Thanks so much, Heather. So let's begin. So I wanted to start off by saying that this is not your average generic info session, in the sense that we're not going to go heavily into detail in the program. We have previous info sessions and details up on our website or on Canvas that are going to help describe kind of the basics of the program, maybe navigating our websites and such. What I'm going to focus on today is something that many people have spoken about beforehand. We see this a lot of questions about advising, and this is particularly true for people who are either in their undergraduate years or new to research work, who are trying to think of themselves how to put the best application forward. So this is kind of one of those tips and tricks info sessions, and specifically about building networks. I like to imagine to myself that this is also a great opportunity to think about building a network regardless of Fulbright. You may be applying to funding for something else. You might be applying for a job or trying to learn more about the market that your future career interests are in. So I'd like to believe that this is applicable in multiple areas, but obviously we'll be kind of focused on using Fulbright as the example for a lot of this. So without any further ado, let's begin. There we go. Click. There we go. Okay, so this is our general agenda. We're going to do a basic overview of the Fulbright program. I would imagine many of us here have already seen it, but just in case this is the first time dropping in, we'll give you the top-notch information. I'm going to talk a little bit about myself, but I promise I'll keep it brief. We'll go through the goals of this workshop, talk a little bit about recommenders and affiliates, and then predominantly the rest of it, kind of connecting the dots and doing informational interviews. This is the way to build up your repertoire and think about how you want to enter into the workplace, or find the best reference, or find the best affiliate. These are all things that I can say I learned as I went. So a lot of this is just me sharing some experience, but also sharing the experience of other people that I've worked with. So let's begin. All right, Fulbright program. What is it? Just as a reminder, this is a program that its sole purpose, or not sole purpose, but one of its biggest purposes is to increase mutual understanding between people in the United States and people in other countries through exchange. So regardless of whether you're an English teacher, or you're doing research, or you're doing art, or you're studying, the whole reason that the federal government is going to give you money is because whatever it is you're doing, you're also going to be incorporating this mutual understanding between yourself and the United States and the country and the people that you're going with. This includes, as I said, the types of programs: study, research, English teaching, creative performing arts. If you've checked out the website, you'll see there's other like special ones that might be in public health, or we have someone who just won one for gastronomy in Italy, and that's pretty cool. Or they have the National Geographic Award, like all this kind of stuff. So there's plenty of different opportunities to find something that piques your interest. Eligibility, again, just in case, you have to be a U.S. citizen in order to participate. You must have a bachelor's degree by the time of the program, and you must not have a PhD, I believe, by time of application. But effectively, if you have a PhD or you know you're going to get it, we have other programs for you. Don't leave just yet. Nevertheless, for those of you here, if you are a sophomore and you're just thinking about the program, super excited to have you here. Know that you probably won't be applying for this application, but if you're prepping for next year, good on you. We still welcome you, and we're happy to answer questions. And this is also a good presentation to check out. Some important dates I wanted to make sure that you all knew of, because eventually you're going to get out of this school year and then you're going to go places all over the summer. And we want to make sure that you are very well aware of kind of the beginning process for our campus deadlines. One of the more important ones is going to be on August 1st. So all through the summer, if you felt like you wanted to submit drafts of your essays to us for our review and feedback, we can do that. The final day to send us those drafts for us to review is going to be August 1st. We'll then turn those back around to you in the middle of August, and then your internal application deadline will be August 27th. Because you'll be turning in the application at that time to us through the application system, so on IIE's website, we have the opportunity to review those applications. We will then offer you interview opportunities. We'll go through the campus interviews. We'll submit your applications back. You finish them up with all the special glitter, then make it look fantastic. And then the national application deadline is going to be the 10th of October. So with all of that basic housekeeping out of the way, let's get into what we're going to be talking about today. So I wanted to share a little bit about myself so you know where I'm coming from and why I feel kind of in a good position to be talking about these kinds of things, but also like what it might feel for you in your career and how things might look. So I wanted to share why me. Well, first off, my current role is I'm the Fellowship and Grants Coordinator at U of M. This is not the only fellowship program we oversee. We support the Boren program. We support the ISF internal funding, FLAS funding. I've had opportunities to advocate on Capitol Hill for programs like this, including the Fulbright program. I have worked in the State Department. I have worked in the Inter-American Development Bank. I have worked in UNICEF and a number of other notable locations. I have lived abroad in multiple countries. I speak multiple languages, and I consider myself so privileged to be an alumnus of the SICE program in Washington, D.C. from Johns Hopkins for International Relations. So I consider myself very proud of the things I've accomplished. I'm proud of myself. It's also worth noting that I didn't get here with a lot of perfect jumps. I had plans, but they didn't always pan out. I failed to get into my undergraduate university that I wanted to go to. I wanted to go to UCSD in California. Didn't get to do that. I had to go to my hometown university, the University of California, Davis. Thought I wanted to be a lawyer. My LSAT scores were abysmal, so that didn't pan out. I remember one time in my master's program at SICE, I had the lowest grade in the class, and they actually put that on a bell curve for my entire class to see. So I remember witnessing, everyone was like, oh, everybody's grades are around here, except for this outlier that's out at the very, very bottom. It was me. I've been in toxic work environments before. I've had to quit. I've been pushed out of jobs before, and I've been unemployed for substantial pieces of time. So all of these things kind of go hand in hand. And I say all this not just for my own personal therapy session, but also to suggest you are going to have good things happen in your career and not so great things happen. And as you seek to build your network with people and you're talking to someone like high-level people, like you're like, wow, I can't believe this person might be part of my network. I would be shocked if they did not have a couple of these tough moments in their lives as well, where they didn't know where they were going or they weren't in a great place. So every time you talk to these highfalutin people, just remember that if they were really good and they're really good to you, they know what it's like to be trying to build up their resumes and move forward. And so I like keeping that in the back of my mind when I think about seeking information for different programs. So what are our goals here? We want to try and identify what does it mean to have a good recommender, and especially in terms of Fulbright. how to find an affiliate, what it might take for you to find affiliates or do networking, which would be, let's say, going through cold calling. That can be sometimes intimidating. We will talk about an informational interview, crucial questions, a little bit about translating those informational interviews into research proposals, what success looks like, and also a brief reminder to always keep in your mind that eventually you'll be the kind of person that people want to network with. Stepping up, straight from the Fulbright website, when they talk about recommenders, what are they talking about? So they say they want 3 recommendation letters as part of the application. And the people who are doing the recommending should be the ones to speak best to your ability to do the project you say you are going to do. They want to discuss your intellectual and professional preparation and your ability to represent the United States abroad. They encourage you to send your essays and your statement of purposes over to these recommenders so they know what you're talking about. And that the recommendation letter is not just a character reference. So they don't want you to just want someone to go in and just be all like, well, this is the greatest person of all time. I've highlighted these 3 parts because, as you'll see, there are 3 recommendation letters you need, and there are 3 things they're kind of trying to highlight in those recommendation letters. So it's nice to consider it of like, okay, is there someone who can speak to you carrying out the project? Is there someone who can speak to how professional you are? Is there someone who can speak to your ability to be a good diplomat? So when you're thinking to yourself, who's going to be the best person to be my recommender? This is a tough question in the sense that you know who you know. We don't know them. We're trying to help coach you on something that really, at the end of the day, you're going to be the best person to make those determinations. So we start out with the basics. All right, it's someone who actually knows you and your work. Someone who believes you have tenacity. So this grit, don't ask me why. If you look at a bunch of applications, whether you're trying to get into a university, whether you are trying to get a job, whether you're trying to get this funding, everybody's looking for somebody who's got grit and tenacity, that self-starter type thing, or somebody who's just going to keep at it, even if the times get tough. So if you have someone in your background who really thinks of you as a tough worker, that's someone you might want as a recommender. So the same thing, roll with the punches, you're flexible. It's always good, especially if you're doing research, to think about someone who's going to specialize in the field that you do. This should be rather obvious, but it bears repeating. And when they specialize in the work that you do, it's very helpful to you if you and them see eye to eye. You want someone who's not just going to advocate for the work in the field, but also is like, and this person is doing really critical work because I believe in this work as well. I encourage you as well, Fulbright considers itself an application of status. This is a very illustrious degree, which means that if you are to provide something, a person in your reference repertoire who is a person of status, it's just a good mark. So if it's somebody who's a professor in your field or someone who's a graduate advisor in your field, that's pretty good. Somebody better might be a professor who's in your field and specializes in the particular area that you're interested in. And then the best is a leading professor in your field. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, I don't really know if I know these leading professors. We'll get to that. So we want to remind you that, yeah, they don't want you to select someone who's just going to talk about your profile or personality, but that doesn't mean that we don't want this person to think ill of you. You want to have somebody who's really cheering in your corner and thinks you have good character, and they back up your assessment. And finally, of course, they are willing to say that you are one of the best representatives that the United States, maybe University of Michigan, but the United States has to offer. Thought it might be nice to pepper in some examples from the different countries about things that they're looking for when they're looking for references. So this is an example from Kenya. For their ETA program. And as you can see, I've kind of highlighted a bunch. I apologize. There's lots of highlighted stuff in here. And the reason is because they're trying to jam pack all of their needs into one small space, but it's all very dense. So depending on where you go and what type of program you want to do, all of the key details are going to be buried within those program descriptions. So for example, in this one, they're telling you exactly the kind of person they're looking for. Someone mature, articulate, resourceful. They're looking for graduate students or graduating seniors in English or education, but they're happy to consider people in other fields if they have specific experience. They're looking for people who have extracurricular activities in music, art, dance, English clubs. So they're looking for like somebody with other extracurriculars, other interests. They're excited to talk with people who have an interest in African languages and culture. They also, you can see at the bottom, they're expected, an ETA is expected to exhibit a high level of professionalism. And they're also prepared to work in challenging environments. Good. So as you take these notes down, when you go and seek your reference, you're going to be telling them, okay, here's what their candidate profile is. And if I'm going to be a winning candidate, I need to have my references speak to my ability to be in a challenging environment, the fact that I have good work in teaching experience, that I am really interested in African culture, that I'm very professional. So they're giving you, embedded within this program description, all of the details that they are hoping that you and your references will be able to point to when they're trying to select a candidate. Hopefully, this seems very basic to you, or it's like, of course, that makes perfect sense. That's why we're here. We're just drawing all the connections here. In these profiles is where you're going to find the answer. Moving on. So if you have any questions, you feel free to throw them in the chat. Affiliate. Now, you may be plenty familiar with what it looks like to get a reference. You're all old hats at this. We're all educated people here. You know what it looks like. But an affiliate can seem kind of particularly daunting. What is an affiliate? What do they do? All that kind of stuff. So straight from the website, specifically in terms of Fulbright, they want you to have an affiliate with an educational institution or another sponsoring entity, so a company or group, in the host country, even if the grant project is primarily or solely research or artistic activity and doesn't require enrollment in a university course. The affiliation letter should come from an institution or individual in that host country. It should be written or translated into English on official letterhead and signed by the author. So you know it gotta look professional. They want your affiliation. The affiliation is your proposed host in the country to which you're applying. And if you have a strong research component, you have to have host country contacts that can support the research, provide access, and advise you during the grant period. So I'm going to get to the next step, which is really nice. They just added a bunch of new stuff onto the Fulbright website that was really helpful. But I want to point out here, the whole purpose of this letter is it's basically going to say, to whom it may concern, I know Sally Johnson. I'm working in Germany. We can't wait to host her here. When she gets here, we're going to provide her an office. She will have access to our library archives, and I will keep in contact with her during the whole period. We will meet once every month to discuss the direction of her project. So the letter that they're going to write is going to detail, yes, I know this person. Yes, we're going to work together. Yes, I'll oversee their work. And here's the things that I can offer them when they come to this program. So Fulbright is going to pay your way to get there. They're going to pay for you to stay someplace, and they're going to give you a stipend that will make sure that you have, all the food and amenities that you need. But when it comes to the research, you're dependent on others to support that research. And that's really what your affiliate is saying is, hey, we're here to back this person's research up. Here's some other great information that they added so that I don't have to work as hard on this presentation. So they're telling you already, how do you find an affiliate? Here's how. One primary method is to use the contacts and advisors that you already have. You can ask current professors to put you in contact with people in the host country, and this is how. So you can build your network for finding affiliates by working directly with faculty that you have right now in classes that you really enjoy. You can talk to international students in the country that you want to go to. There are often visiting Fulbright professors who come to the University of Michigan. You can connect with them. Or, as you can see on the 4th bullet point, hey, just do a rando internet search. You can just find people at potential institutions that meet your interests. It's that basic. So we're trying to showcase here that, ironically, it seems kind of daunting at first, but the truth of the matter is that these are generalist opportunities. There are plenty of ways for you to seek these people, and it's just as basic sometimes as opening up the Googles. And we will continue with that. Let me keep talking about it. How do you get the right affiliate? Basically, what that previous slide was pointing to is simply networking. You got to get out there. You've got to talk to people that you like, and you've got to find the type of person who wants to work with you on the project you want to do. So you want to find someone who fits the program profile as well, somebody who's going to be doing the kind of research that you do and matches up with the program that you're working with. And again, someone whose work aligns with yours. Sometimes, rather than thinking of it as affiliate, because it's a fancy schmancy name and sounds like really frou-frou, I like to think of it as somebody who's a mentor. If you could work with somebody and have them guide your career and guide your research, who would that be? You would want someone that you gel with. You would want someone whose work you're interested in. You would want someone that when they tell you, hey, you know, I wouldn't do it like this, I'd do it like that you trust their opinion. And then I'm just going to put something in the chat. Totally fine. Cool. All right, so start with for choosing affiliates, just in general. In Fulbright, they're going to have a couple specific pieces of information regarding affiliates in each one of these programs. I just picked at random, Indonesia, and you can see they already have some details about what it is that they think that they want for an affiliate for the program. So some places, they're not going to care whether or not you have an affiliate at the deadline. Indonesia does, and they've listed it right at the very beginning. You need to have an affiliate at the beginning. What's more, they are specific about what affiliate they want you to have. So it has to be with this Indonesian institution, as you can see. You should contact Indonesian institutions that you want to collaborate with because they must include their affiliations in your application. You need to find someone who can match your project. If you suggest someone that MNF doesn't like, the Fulbright Commission in Indonesia, they will tell you they want you to change affiliates. They may ask you to change it. They may suggest someone else. They also give details here about who they don't want you to have as an affiliate. They don't want you to be a part of an NGO. You have to choose something other than that. You can see that, ironically, while they do insist on deciding whether or not you could affiliate with someone, you are still responsible for securing your own affiliate letter. So this is one of those areas too. You'll never believe this, but sometimes things are kind of confusing. Every time you scroll down at the bottom of a country profile or project profile, they'll have contact information. If this seems as confusing to you as it kind of is to me, you're more than welcome to go and talk with the people listed at the bottom to make sure that you have a clear understanding of what they're asking for. And then, as you can see, you're going to be asked to sign an agreement and understanding between those host institutions when that happens. So each country, Indonesia doesn't have a blanket affiliate profile for all of Fulbright. This is how Indonesia works it. So just make sure that as you're building this affiliate profile, you go and look at the specific program you're going to be applying for, because they may have specific details on what they think your affiliation needs to look like. Now, on to building. So like I said, we're starting here at this idea, okay, we know what an affiliate is. There's somebody who's going to mentor us through the work. We know what our references are. They're people who speak to our greatest strengths. How do we find the right ones? How do we get the right ones? I've got an idea, but I still don't know exactly how to put all the pieces together. Let's start with what you all have. You know you have professors, probably professors you really like. You know you may have worked at a place where someone has liked the work that you've done. Do not discount as well colleagues that you have, friends of yours who may have good connections in a country or other professors that they've worked with. Don't discount relatives. I know it might seem nepotistic. Don't worry about that. We all work together to help each other's networks. It's very normal to go and talk with people who your family might be affiliated with as well, just to get the ball rolling. You have school advisors. You have the International Institute of Education as well. So like I said, when you scroll down to the bottom of the project, you might even ask, hey, I'm looking for an affiliate. Any suggestions of where I should start? They are often willing to help. You've got Fulbright alumni from the University of Michigan, and also just on the Fulbright webpage, they'll have alumni. And then we are also here. We're your advisors. Additionally, that's what the alumni office is for. You are more than welcome. You are paying for it. You can go to the career service offices. You can go to the alumni offices to talk about, hey, do we know anybody who is working in Bangladesh at the moment? Could I potentially get their contacts as a U of M alum and I'm a U of M student? It would be great if I could reach out to them. So that's where you start. And I just actually want to jump on that one more time. You're paying for the University of Michigan. I love the classes too. They're very fun, really educational. Great opportunity. What you're paying for is to turn around later and say, I went to the University of Michigan. That network, Go Blue, is so universal. You can find, the big M everywhere you go. Use that to your advantage. You get to benefit from the university's investment in their image, and you have every right to contact alumni that may help build your network. Never forget that. So you got these resources. Now you move on to their connections. So now that you've built these good relationships with a faculty member, you can go and talk to them. You have a good conversation and say, hey, do you know anybody who happens to be working in France or in this particular area of research? Because I'm trying to apply for Fulbright. I would love to get with them. And so you kind of go through all of this as well. I would also highly recommend, when I say co-authors, if you look at professors, a lot of professors, if you go, don't just go to like the class website, go to your professor's CV website. Not only are they hilarious to look at sometimes, but also they will have lists of all the publications and the current research that they're doing. Read it. Take a look at the kind of stuff they're researching at. Maybe it's really interesting to you. And then notice they don't often write that research by themselves. They have co-authors that they write with. Ask your professors, hey, can I get connected with this co-author who happens to be in Switzerland? I'm really interested in doing work with them. And then as you talk to these individuals, you continue this network building of, do you know somebody else who might be interested in talking to me? And sooner or later, you will find someone who may gel with you. And that's the greatest opportunity to find an affiliate in the locations that you're going to. Now, that's if you already know somebody, if you have resources to build. Maybe none of your resources can provide you any of those details. So what do? We got to do a cold call. Don't be afraid of a cold call. First of all, again, you're at the University of Michigan. That is nothing to sniff at. You are very, very good at what you do. That's why you're here in this meeting, because you know you have future aspirations. So don't be afraid to reach out to anybody and be proud of the work that you're currently doing and the work that you want to do. Never consider reaching out in a cold call or otherwise that you are bothering someone. That's not true. You are a young ingenue. Everybody's been there before. Remember the whole I didn't get in the L side. We've all been there before. The faculty members that you think are so phenomenal, they've been there before. And they've been trying to build their network too. So reaching out to them is always a good idea. What else? Be a super sleuth. We only have as many resources. Your faculty only have a certain number of resources. Use the Google box. Get down into the dirt and find somebody who's really doing the work you're interested in. And then set yourself reasonable goals. When you're trying to cold call somebody, you don't have to say to yourself, I'm going to cold call 10 people. There's no need to do that. I normally set a goal of reaching out to 3 people a week to try to set something up. seeing whether or not they contact me. Do they want to meet with me? Then I stage those meetings, see if they go well, see if I can't get an additional person to network with after that. And then the next week after that, I start it all over again. Contact 3 people, see what happens next. Some of these people are going to be short with you. Some of them may not be nice. Some of them may say they disagree with your work. Don't worry about those people. It's totally fine. They're allowed to have their take, and you don't have to listen. You can get up and you can do it again. So try your best not to stagnate in this work and just keep the ball rolling. That's why I say set reasonable goals, and then you can still be building your network as you go along. So I'm just going to give you an example. I want to let you know this is a genuine type of coldish email. I think I have a personal one that I actually put in there, and you're putting in the basics. That's it. Good afternoon. My name is so-and-so. I was a student in your class. This is easy modifiable to I know so-and-so. I've met this and this. I'm reaching out to you to see if you're available for a short informational interview in a few weeks. What that says to them is that you're not looking for anything special. You're not trying to get them to get you into something. You're not trying to ask for a job. You're just asking for a conversation. You give them some context about applying for the Fulbright scholarship, what you're focused on, and why you are interested in talking to them. Giving them a couple basics helps separate you from other people who might be like, can we talk? Instead, you're saying like, I'm really particularly interested in your research on salamanders in Guadalajara. Could we sit down and have a conversation, because I loved how you had this insightful idea that, they're ultraviolet instead of your average green. I'm making this up. And then finally, you end very politely. I look forward to hearing from you. So when they set the response you're going to get back often is not going to be even close to the amount of effort that you put into your original email. So just know that this is the kind of stuff that you might fit back to. Like the worst possible email that you're going to get back is, sorry, they're slightly busy. That's the worst it could be. No one is going to come out and be all like, I hate you. I never want to talk to you. Having them respond might mean that you get slightly delayed or they don't have time for you right now, but any response is pretty darn good. This is what a positive response can look like. Hi, I'm really sorry. I got to get out of here. But, if you contact me a little bit later, that's fine. This is a win. And again, I have received emails like this after lots of painful thought about how I want to craft a really polite email. Often this is the kind of response I get back. So let's say you've got your opportunity to speak to somebody that you want to build a network with. This is what I recommend you start as the process. So we already talked about that introductory email. They said yes. You set a time to talk, and you think about how you're going to structure this conversation. You ask to just sit down and have a de-jerk talk with them. What does that look like? Tell me about how you started doing what you're doing. That's a great way to begin. Just letting them talk about, why did they become a professor? How did they get involved in this research? What about it piqued their curiosity? Where have they gone from there? And you just let them talk. Let it all come out. Ask them continually probing questions, but you're going to let them kind of show their world to you. Everybody wants to be asked about themselves and their work. That's how you begin. Sooner or later, though, you're going to have to explain a little bit more of why you're there, and that's when your elevator pitch comes in. If you've heard of an elevator pitch before, or if you haven't, let me just remind you, it's a very brief, no more than 2 or 3 sentences, definitely less than 4-minute discussion of who am I? So I might come in and say, my name is Melissa Vert. I'm a fellowship and grants coordinator at the University of Michigan. I work on the Fulbright and Boren programs. I speak Japanese, and I'm really eager to learn more about becoming a Fulbright scholar in Scotland. Very brief, but explains a little bit of your background. And that helps to keep the conversation going. Now they're going to be like, oh, so like you're doing this. Oh, that's interesting because I once worked on this when I was over, in France, and I made friends with a guy who was from Scotland. We had a great time, and that kind of keeps the conversation going. After a couple minutes, often about 15-ish minutes, you're kind of winding down. You get near the end. you always want to make sure that you ask these 2 questions. Number 1, there are any openings or positions in your office or area of research? Because again, you haven't gotten the Fulbright yet. Still might want to find other opportunities. And number 2, are there 2 or 3 people you believe might be willing to talk with me about their work for an informational interview? That last one is the most key, because that's the one that's going to help you decipher who could be a good affiliate for you in the future. And again, try not to think too small. Yes, we're talking about the Fulbright. Maybe it's not just an affiliate for the Fulbright. Maybe it's an affiliate for a future job or future research opportunity or graduate school or getting a PhD. Finding other people who are like-minded, who are interested in the work that you want to do, there is never a problem learning about those people at any time. Heck, it might even give you an opportunity to realize maybe you thought you wanted to go to Ouagadougou, and now instead you want to go to South Africa because that's where all the people doing the work you want to do are. So that's why it's always worthwhile. And of course, you got to follow up. You finish the conversation, you say goodbye, thanks so much, and then you write a small thank you email. Really appreciated the opportunity to talk with you. I will let you know what happens to me in my Fulbright program. If you have any additional information for me, I would love to hear it. It was been a pleasure. Yada, yada, yada. Woo! So I have it. I'm not even going to go through this, but I just want to let you know I have an example of thank you letters in the presentation. I really appreciated this. You always grab a couple things from the conversation that you had. Try to be very polite on your way back. This is another example. So now when you've done your first preliminary informational interviews, you may be reaching out to other people you've never met before. This is an example of that kind of email. Hey, I'm reaching out to you with the encouragement of the first person I talked to. How do I know that person? I know them like this. Here's my elevator pitch. This is back from 2009 when I was looking for a job. This is a little bit about me. I'd love to set up a time to speak with you. I've enclosed a copy of my resume. Thank you for your consideration. Hope to hear from you soon. So now that you've got the ball rolling on your network, what should we know about keeping a network alive? First off, they're not just a first-time affair. You may end up, let's say your Fulbright is only 1 year. Eventually, you're going to want a job. You're probably going to start coming back to this network. So it's not so bad of an idea to keep it alive for as much as you can or reach back out to people that you met. Take notes on the people that you talk to. Make sure that you don't forget that the reason you were talking to David in the first place was because he's been working at, Northwestern, and his research is really pertinent to the research you're doing. Try to make sure you keep track of those things. More important, I truly believe, more important than the Fulbright Award itself is this network. Because win or lose, you get the Fulbright or not, it doesn't matter. This is the research you're dedicating yourself to. This is the work you're dedicating yourself to. You'll come back to this. So gaining this network kind of supersedes a lot of the other work that you're doing here. This is just one application. If you build a good network, you may find many other things to be applying to as a result of all this. You're a part of your network. Even if you're just starting out now, it's kind of hard to believe that maybe someday someone might be seeking your advice or an opportunity to speak with you, but I guarantee you, it will happen. They will come back and reach out to you. So knowing that you're reaching out to them is obviously beneficial to you. They're talking with you is potentially going to be beneficial to them. So if they want to be, snooty about it and think they're fancy, fine, let them. A smart person knows that the opportunity to speak to someone younger who's just starting out is a growth opportunity for them as well. And they'll treat it as such. Don't be afraid. If you have not reached out to a faculty member you really loved in like the past 6 months or a year, and you think to yourself, they're never going to remember me. I didn't work hard at this relationship. They're going to think I abandoned them. They sent me that email 3 months ago and I never responded. You are young. You are, I'm going to guess for most of us here, maybe not all, most of us here, not me, are in our 20s. You are beginning your career. It is totally fine that you are really distracted in a lot of fantastic ways. any person who you might be seeking mentorship from should know that. So if they're upset because you didn't talk to them in the past 3 months, that's on them. More often than not, they're going to be like, oh, I'm so glad to hear from you. How are things? Did you ever get that position you wanted? What classes are you taking now? Never be afraid to reach back out to somebody, because as you're young, a lot of stuff is happening to you, and we all know that. And then again, want to remind you that support, it goes both ways. Oh, it says networking in 2022. My apologies. It's networking in 2023. Now is a great time to begin the process of networking. People are still, as you can see, we're still doing Zoom. People may still be doing Zoom, but also I'm going to tell you right now, I'm so excited for things to go on break and take a vacation. Know that yourself, that you want to build up these conversations now, because over the summer, any professors you might want to work with may be doing Ferragosto in Italy, or they may be taking a vacation with their family. So getting on their radar now is good. Just remember, they really do want to help you. And that all of this kind of having a 15-minute conversation, blessedly, is now really acceptable to be done virtually. And I said, no, there's no way to predict where the world will be in July 2023. Stand by it. So it's worth knowing there's also no way to predict what's going to happen in July 2024. So everybody's doing their best to kind of see what's going to pan out. This is the last, sorry, this was the one that I thought was going to be next, but I wanted to remind you again, when you're connecting your affiliate to your proposal, remember, this is going to be beneficial for you. Eventually, you will find someone that you want to work with in the country that you're going to do the research. Just remember, you are seeking them. They're going to be a tremendous help to you in your career, but you are of great value to them. They don't have to pay you. You can be helping them with their data work. You can be helping them with their research. This is a mutually beneficial situation for both of you. You're going to want to make sure that they understand your timeline and you understand what they are able to offer to you. A good affiliate letter can go into acute details. Like we're talking, you put it on official letterhead, they're talking about the resources that they're going to offer. It's very basic. If you got an affiliate letter that's like, yeah, we know that person, we're glad to welcome them, period, the end. That's very nice. What's better is, I can't wait to have this person come in. They're coming in September. We will be able to host them until May. They will have an office. They will have access to our libraries. We will be in contact often. If you have that opportunity, you're showing that you're already building this research, and it makes for a more competitive application. And just remember, a really great affiliate has the capacity to be a guide, a mentor. They may provide a future job. They might be a future colleague. Many affiliates may turn into just that person down the hall who's overseeing my work. That's okay. They don't have to be anybody magical. But if you work hard and you start now, it's quite possible that they may be a really fantastic career link for you. And then I have to end on this because, again, given the fact that we all live in this world that's ever moving forward, remember what you're doing now and remember what it feels like to be starting. Because one day you are going to be exceptionally successful. I have high confidence in everybody. And someone else is going to be looking for your help. Never forget to throw a hand backward. When someone else sends you a rando email, it's way too long, and it's going into detail about the research, and you are in a position to send back a 1 or 2 sentence email like, fine, I got some time. Remember to be kind. They're reaching out because they could really use your help, and it's good to help somebody in need. Also, because you never know. Eventually, they may be in such a successful position that it will benefit you to know them. All right, I have talked for a long amount of time. Just as a reminder, my colleague Heather Johnson is here. I want to point out Dan Kierman works in our languages office. He's also really great for ETA applicants. Dr. Ann Takata, who's listed here, is phenomenal in terms of research awards. So if you're trying to set up your own Fulbright program for research, I hope you've contacted her or met her. If you haven't, you definitely should, and we can work with you on that. And then you know me. And just a reminder on some of our websites, make sure you get to our Canvas site and our Fulbright website on UM pages. Don't forget, of course, to check out the IIE's Fulbright page. That's where you'd be applying anyway. And then also don't forget to check out the Fulbright Alumni Ambassadors as well. And there's our contact information. And I think we are now in a position of questions. So I see one in the question wing, and I just want to let you know, as just officially, thank you so much for attending this conversation or for watching it from home. I hope you watched it on 2 times speed just to make life easier for yourself. Please feel free to check out our websites and to sign up for any advising appointments if you're interested. Thanks for watching. And now I'm going to stop. Stop sharing and stop recording.